Hello to all my hot historians and my fellow truth seekers, whom I like to call Kemetologists. It's your girl, Nefertiti, here to bring you some things to think about, learn, and to go research yourself. Welcome to my channel, where we learn vocabulary to unlock life's mysteries and reveal the world's true history. Today, we'll be discussing ancient Jerusalem. If you haven't already, don't forget to go to barnesandnoble.com to purchase my book, The Son of God in Kemet, and a digital version of the study guide as well. Please purchase only off of the Barnes & Noble website because other websites pay authors virtually nothing. And with each purchase, it'll bring me closer to my dream of having my books in store. Also, be sure to check me out on TikTok and Instagram at Neferu_Neferu_Aten. And don't forget to click that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you know whenever I post my next video. Let's get started. So today we'll be discussing the many names of the city, the sojourn of Israel to Kemet, the current location of the city, and the conclusion. First, we'll review the names of this location. The original name for the city was Iunu. The biblical names were Goshen and On. After the Greco-Roman invasion of Kemet, or modern-day Egypt, the city was renamed Heliopolis. It's very confusing, but this is the channel where we break down vocabulary to find the truth. Jerusalem is defined as the capital of Israel. This is the city in which Israel, the man himself, settled with his family and his descendants for many generations. This city is the ancient or first city of Jerusalem, capital of Israel, a family turned into a nation. Next, we'll discuss Jacob, aka Israel's relocation. In Genesis chapter 47, verse 1, it says, Then Joseph went and told Pharaoh and said, My father and my brothers, their flocks and their herds, and all that they possess have come from the land of Canaan. And indeed, they are in the land of Goshen. The Pharaoh referred to this land as the fat of the land, which is the Nile Delta. A delta is a coastal landform that forms at the mouth of a river where sediments are deposited and not removed by tides or waves. The Nile Delta is one of the largest deltas in the world. The Nile River flowed from south to north, and the Nile Delta is considered the fat of the land because it was well watered, and all of the sedimentary and nutrient-rich soil that flowed from the base of the Nile in Ethiopia flowed and settled in this area. As you can see here,
Hi, I'm Malit Chechere, and welcome to this edition of Earth from Space on the European Space Agency Web TV. This image, captured from Sentinel-2A on August 13th, features Cairo in Egypt. The capital of Egypt, Cairo is one of the largest cities in Africa. It has existed for over 1,000 years on the same spot on the Nile River banks. Located in the northeastern part of the country, Cairo is the passage to the Nile Delta. The Nile River is the father of African rivers and the longest river in the world. With a length of some 6,650 kilometers, it rises south of the equator and flows northwards through northeastern Africa, draining into the Mediterranean Sea. The river is the cause of the strong contrasts we see in the image. The river's fertility allowed the Egyptians to thrive despite the arid surrounding desert. It has always delivered the necessary water to transform the desert into a lush garden, where produce such as tomatoes, potatoes, sugarcane, rice, and even cotton are grown. The Nile Delta, in fact, ranks among the world's most fertile farming areas. The sharp borderline between green fields and the yellow-brown desert is clear. Notice how the area is greener on the west side. The terrain is flatter, so more easily irrigated than the higher terrain to the east. The city of Cairo shows striking contrasts. Along the well-irrigated shoreline, the green reveals the thick vegetation, while the gray areas denote the dense city. In the older areas to the east, however, beneath the foothills of the eastern desert and the rocky Mukattam hills, brown and ochre are the dominant colors. The city continuously mixes ancient and new. The pyramids of Giza, erected on a rocky plateau on the west bank of the Nile, stand at the southwestern edge of the city, while the world's oldest surviving obelisk in the northeast marks the site of Heliopolis, a suburb of Cairo some 10 kilometers from the city center.
It was perfect to grow crops and herd flocks of animals. Goshen, aka On, aka Ionu, was located on the left side of the delta. And coincidentally, the city was always dedicated to the angel of the Lord, Re. Please see my Son of Righteousness or Kemetic Names of God and Jesus video for more details. So due to the worship of this region, it was perfect for Jacob and his sons. Jacob's descendants lived at this location for about 200 years until they left during the Exodus. Another interesting fact about this location is that pyramids at Giza, home of the Sphinx, point towards the city. The original name for the Sphinx was not the Sphinx. This is another Greco-Roman rename of an ancient African monument. The original name of the Sphinx was Horadki Kepri Re Atum. These are Kemetic names used for Jesus when he was worshipped in ancient Kemet. Just as we have several names for Jesus like Christ, Lord, the Messiah, etc. Please watch the full Kemetic names of God and Jesus for more details. But I digress. The city of Iunu was quite large, but many ancient portions of this location were built over and now lie under the modern-day city of Cairo.
Their magnificent tombs and temples are a true symbol of ancient Egypt. It was religion that drove the Egyptians to raise these wonders, despite the unimaginable effort. The very core of this religion for over 3,000 years was the solar cult.
Today we'll visit the birthplace of this once powerful religion. Let's see what remains of the city of the sun.
We all know the spectacular ancient sites located west of Cairo, but the religious capital of the Pharaonic Empire, Heliopolis, stood on the site now covered by modern Cairo, the largest and most populous city in Africa and the Middle East. Is anything left of Heliopolis? To find out, we set off 30 kilometers northeast to the Matareya district in northeast Cairo. Absolutely no tourists come here, none. So, like me, you'll see it for the first time. One of its kind, the only ancient site in the city of Cairo. Let's go! The so-called Al-Masala obelisk, an over 20-meter tall monolith made of red granite weighing 120 tons, is the oldest of Egypt's great obelisks. Once standing alone on the northern edge of Old Cairo, now surrounded by the busy streets of the industrial district, the monument is the only still visible element of the ancient huge temple of Atum-Ra. It's inscribed with the names of Senusret I, the second pharaoh of the 12th dynasty from the 20th century BC. This monument was part of a massive construction or reconstruction project undertaken by this great ruler of the Middle Kingdom. It's one of two obelisks that originally flanked the temple's western entrance. Since its raising, the ground level has risen by 3 meters. The groundwater has completely covered its original base. Although threatened with undermining and collapse, it has never been moved anywhere. In 1957, at the request of the Egyptian government, German engineers from Krupp Company lifted it 2.5 meters to place a new, stable pedestal beneath it. So it still stands exactly where it was placed 4,000 years ago. It's around this ancient obelisk in the area of 10,000 square meters that the Mataria Open Air Museum was created and opened in 2018. It exhibits fragments of the Great Temple of the Sun, pieces uncovered in several excavation areas within the former sanctuary walls on its temenos. Among the finds prevail those from the Middle Kingdom, the New Kingdom, and the Late Period, such as these incredible images of Ra-Horakhte, founded in the 4th century BC by Nectanebo I.
This beautiful fragment of a red granite was once part of the gateway of the temple dedicated to Atum, lord of Heliopolis.
This is what the Greeks called it, City of the Sun. For the Egyptians it was Iuno, meaning the pillars, and in the Bible it appears as On. Here in Iuno, the sun was recognized as the primary manifestation of God, and the rest of the country largely adopted these local beliefs because perhaps as early as the 28th century BC, during the Second Dynasty, the solar cult became the state religion. Thus, to legitimize their rule, subsequent pharaohs expanded the temple of Atum-Ra, the national sanctuary of the Egyptians, a sanctuary of which almost nothing remains today. Several true gems have been discovered, including a beautiful and unique relief on the Pyramidion of Osorkon, a fragment of the naos that originally housed a cult statue. The solar trinity, we might say, the three persons of the great creator god, Ra-Horakhte, Khepri, symbolized by the scarab as the young becoming sun, and Atum, the only one from whom millions were born. The composition is complemented by the sky goddess Nut, arched over them. Perhaps the oldest known obelisk adorned with royal titulary. And in front lies what may be the oldest block in the museum, containing a fragment of a cartouche of Khufu, the creator of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Most of the statues bear traces of deliberate destruction. The reasons for such disfigurement are not always clear. In the case of images shattered into multiple fragments, we are most likely dealing with the anti-pagan iconoclasm of the 4th and 5th centuries AD.
I can only assume this was done to keep people from doing archaeological digs there and to prevent research from being done, but who knows? So now we know that the ancient city of Iunu, renamed Goshen, On, and Heliopolis by Europeans, was in fact the first capital of Israel, making it the ancient city of Jerusalem. I will go in depth in my next 2 books about more about this city and the events that occurred there. But that's all for now. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Until next time, bye.